So this is a very fast shoe, and I've gotten a couple Strava crowns um, using this shoe. It's very lightweight. It's extremely breathable in here, and the traction is pretty good where there is traction. These lugs, um, they're pretty good and they hold up well. Unfortunately, it's missing an outsole in these fake lugs that are basically made out of the midsole, and that's unfortunate. I would hate to I would hate to have to depend on traction right there to avoid falling on rocks or falling off the trail and sliding down a very steep hillside or off a cliff. So that's unfortunate, and I would not recommend using these for technical downhill running. Also, you'll notice that the rock plate, it doesn't go all the way here. So your protection from rocks is only here where the red is. Actually, it looks like it goes a little bit further just right there. And also here. It's questionable whether there's protection right here. Let me see. It feels really squishy right there. Yeah, there's definitely no rock plate right there. And the rock plate that is here is a bit too stiff. The problem with having a rock plate that's really stiff is that if you're landing on a rock, it's kind of like a teeter-totter, and it's unstable. And then when you roll an ankle, you can roll really hard also. So I prefer having a little bit of flexibility, um, just enough stiffness to protect from rocks, or just enough cushion to protect from rocks. But not so much of either of those that I'm gonna risk having a fall on a technical downhill. And then another big issue I have with this, it's pretty good cushion, by the way. And the cushion seems to have held up for, well, I haven't used this a lot. I've just used it for a few Strava segments. One thing that's really bad about this shoe is that it flexes a lot here in the midfoot. See that? And that's made worse by the stiffness here. So that flexing right here can stress the plantar fascia and cause plantar fasciitis. I've noticed wearing these that the muscles they have some weird soreness underneath my foot. But more importantly, it can cause it can cause a serious injury that requires surgery. So I don't recommend wearing these for really long workouts and putting miles on these. They're basically just for short and fast stuff on trails. What I did to see if I can address that issue is I made some Kevlar insoles. So that's the bottom, and this is the top. I didn't use the original. These are the original insoles. And I didn't, normally when I modify insoles, I just use the original and put stuff on the bottom. But the glue that glued these in, it ripped off chunks of the insole. So unfortunately, I couldn't use these in my modified insole. And this foam I used, it's a nylon foam that wore pretty fast. I don't recommend using that. But the Kevlar, I could feel that it did make a difference, even though it's not, it doesn't have a resin. I didn't add a resin. I could, and I'm going to keep exploring this concept. I attached the Kevlar with a tape called the 3M444 tape, which is specifically meant for plastics, and I'll provide some links in the description. So this is the Kevlar cloth. Now here's the information right here. It's 24 mils thick, 24 thousandths of an inch, and it's not designed to be used with a resin, but it probably could be, most likely could be. I would do the resin from both sides because it's not designed for a resin, but it's designed to be puncture resistant. And this is, well, it was originally a 1 foot by I think 5 foot piece of cloth. What I found is that it's stiff in this direction and in this direction, so the 90 degrees, but the 45-degree directions it stretches. So it's very important when using this to make insoles that you want to line up the insole with the direction that does not stretch as much, because that supports the plantar fascia, the tension. And then the stretching in the 45-degree directions allows it to form a compound curve. So that a compound curve is a curve in two directions in the same area. So the heel here, you can see it curves this way, and it also curves this way. And then it also curves this way in the arch, a little bit this way under the metatarsal, and then lengthwise it curves under the metatarsals, a little bit of curve the other way in the arch. Someone with a high arch would have more curve there, and then it curves again in the heel. So this is an experimental project, and I will post another video as this idea develops.